Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the American Tier 8 Premium Heavy Tank, the T34 Black. Now, this is the tank that I bought when the Black Edition tanks first came out a long time ago. It was like, I think it was like my 5th or 6th ever premium I bought that was Tier 8 at that point. And I bought it because obviously it had this extra 75% XP bonus or free XP bonus, whichever one it was. And it was like, oh, you know, that'd make a good crew trainer. And I always wanted the T34 back then because it was like, that's a solid 400 alpha Tier 8 heavy. That's something I want. Now, when I first got it, obviously I played it quite a lot and I really did enjoy it. But over time, it started to become quite an annoying tank because the gun was just, it was a slow reload, right? And a lot of the time, the gun decided, you know what, that fully aimed shot you had, I'm just gonna hit the floor in front of the tank. I'm just gonna do that, and it was pretty annoying. So I didn't play it all that much. So I decided to pick up rather recently again to try and finish it, the third mark that is. And as always by the title, if you haven't guessed, this is the third mark video for the tank. So I thought, you know what, I'll pick it up because 6.0 happened, derpy guns aren't derpy anymore, and you know what, why not? As we go and miss a shot with the first shell we fire there, of course. It's still got a slow reload, which can be a pain, but like I say, for the most part, the gun actually behaves, which is very nice. And having that 400 alpha at the tier is definitely a nice thing. As well as that, obviously, the T34 has that strength in its turret. Its turret is just fantastic, really. You go hull down and you can just laugh at tanks as they really struggle to pen you. The hull armor is garbage, easy pen for most tanks, and that can be a bad thing. Oh, look at that shot. That was into the cupola of that Diamondback. That was unfortunate for that guy. But yeah, the turret is fantastic. The hull armor is not that great. The mobility is also pretty slow for this kind of tank as well, which is kind of annoying. But that's just the way the tank is. It could probably do with a little bit of love just to bring up to date with everything that's out there these days. But it's still okay. It's still okay. So these replays were quite a while ago. I say quite a while ago. They're probably like 2 months ago. You know, you can tell by the way that the game looks. There's no HP numbers above the tanks. There's no tank names above the tanks at this current moment in time of this replay. And yeah, the game definitely looks a lot better than it did when we got into this situation. Still not as good as pre 6.0, but hey ho, it's unfortunate, isn't it? And you can, I mean, when you watch a lot of the older 6.0 replays, you can see the progress that they've made by re-adding things to the UI. And we've definitely come a long way since those early days. So we're on Arctic region. And I've taken this position here against this Diamondback, which is a position that I'm strong in because obviously he's going to bounce on there. I really have to hit that. But look at that, that was a nice shot straight into the cupola. That cupola on the Diamondback is pretty damn hard to hit and pen. It's a very, very hard to hit weak spot, so it's quite nice that we managed to hit that twice. And obviously that's also something that's nice about the 120mm on this tank as well. The fact that there's a lot of tanks that you might not quite be able to overmatch and stuff on roof plates and stuff that you just can with this gun, and that's nice. So now that Diamondback's gone, my heavy tank is going in on this VK4502A, so I'm going to try and help him out as much as possible. We're just going to try and see if we can get a shot at him. I want to try and angle my tank up a little bit, but I'm just thinking, you know what, I think he's behind the ridgeline, so I need to get beyond it. And it's actually, he's either just disconnected or he's just gone AFK, but that was easy damage for us. We're currently detected, so we're just going to keep pulling back so that we don't get shot. But now we're unspotted. It's like, okay, let's make the move. Let's go back down here. My heavy tank's attacking the medium in their base. I don't really fancy that. I know that if I go back towards the middle of the map, I could probably get shots on their tanks attacking our base. So as you see the Centurion here that we shot earlier on, we're going to get a nice shot, hopefully into him. Get straight through him, 327. Unfortunately, big low roll, but hey, that's the way damage rolls work these days. And I'm just going to progress now. We're just going to move up. And I'm hoping, like I say, to get to the point where all these guys come into render range like that. Because hopefully we'll be able to get some free shots at these guys without taking any in return, because they're not going to be too fussed about me. And there's the E75. We get a nice shot straight through his back end. And it's all about just keeping progressing, keeping it so that I can get shots at these guys. Unfortunately, this destructible cover in front of me is going to be a pain. And it does actually eat the shot. I was thinking at the time I'd be able to shoot through it, but apparently not. It's weird, isn't it, with some of the destructible covers in this game, that sometimes destructible cover doesn't take shells. Shells pass straight through it and go into the tanks. But sometimes it just doesn't happen. It just gets eaten. Hey-oh. So we go for a shot on the mouse chin there. Somehow, some way, that shot missed. I'm not too sure how. But we get unspotted. As when we fired at that guy, we pulled back behind that rock there to stay safe from him. And then we're going to now pull forward to see if we can get some more shots at these guys. We've got a nice shot at the side of this 705. Get one straight through him. But now we're detected, so something somewhere is looking at us, which is not good. So I'm just going to duck, dodge, dip, dive and dodge, get straight down into the low ground here to try and stay safe. I'm detected once again. I don't know what it is. It might be this guy over here. It is actually the Dragon that's trying to get a shot at us. We end up ricocheting something else off our turret, which is a strength of this tank again. The turret armor is fantastic. And I want to try and get closer, try and go and get a shot at these guys. Now the mouse chin is actually looking at us. We tried to get a shot through his cupola there, and it actually flew through his turret cheeks. And that was quite fortunate, really. We load APCR so that we can definitely go through the turret cheeks of the mouse chin. But there's actually a Kampfpanzer 50T that's driven up directly behind us. And fortunately enough for us, actually, this APCR round will basically go through that little weak spot, guaranteed, on the Kampfpanzer 50T's turret. Because it has, where the viewport is, a little weak spot. And that weak spot is just on the left-hand side of the turret that you'll keep seeing me aim for. Now we get a nice shot through his side there, because he just overexposed his side as he was moving on that ridgeline. And I'm just hiding from him, because obviously I am a one-shot from this guy. So I was basically sticking to the low ground as much as possible to basically just give him less of a target to shoot at. And by doing that, obviously he only had shots on my turret. I managed to get a couple more shots of damage into him. But now he's disappeared, and I'm figuring he's probably gone somewhere up on that top ridge. So we're just keeping the turret facing towards that way in case that he pops up to shoot us. Now the AMX M451 gave us a shot into his side as he was trying to run away. We managed to, well, he gets shut down. And actually that Kampfpanzer got shut down himself, because there was two mediums. The one over there is still alive, which is the Dragon, and the other one had gone. So there's just this Dragon and the heavy tank that was in front. We're going to get up on this ridgeline. Obviously we are fully hull down for this guy. Get a nice shot straight through the Dragon. And we're just going to wait for this reload. And like I say, this reload it's a long reload on this tank. We managed to shut down the Dragon, and now there's only the E75 left. And the E75 is in that little dip down there, so the likelihood of me getting damage into him is very unlikely, because the team is marauding towards him. But unfortunately, we did actually get a shot at him, but it ricocheted off his turret. I was aiming just for the side of his turret, unfortunately hit the front, and it just bounced. But we finished that game with victory. Top of the team, 3 kills, 6.1k damage, 2.1k assistance. 2.1k assistance? 2.1k base XP, which is nice. And a very nice game for the T34 Black. I mean, doing 6k in the T34 Black is quite a rarity. Like I say, you need those, like this game was, you need those really long-winded games to be able to get that much damage done. And that puts us on 94.54, which is great. We got the Ace Tanker, the Confederate, the High Caliber. Like I say, 2.1k base, the 6.1k damage. Like I say, you can see it was a long time ago because I was in my old clan. And it's a good tank generally. When you manage to get it in that position where you're hull down and you're laughing at tanks. But if you get caught out in the open and you really, or basically like a team capitulates and you're having to basically fire and pen every shot you fire, you know, firing pen and just keep your gun firing constantly. And it's a very quick game. You don't really get much done, and you do struggle a lot. But those like that game we just had, long-winded games, they do suit this tank so well. And like I say, if you get it hull down, it's just you laugh. You just laugh. That's it. The only thing that you cry about when you hull down is artillery, because artillery just goes, ha! I see your hull down and I raise you! Skyfire! And that's just the way it goes. So we're on the second game, and we're on cliff, and we're going to go up to the position about E6 to try and get hull down there possibly, and be able to stay safe from them. We get a nice shot on the move into that stone cold, and we're just going to keep moving towards the little ridge line up here, because this is always a good position to go to. The only issue with it is the artillery, the fact that it is a kill zone for them, and actually getting to it. The other problem is, if they take a position like that Stone Cold did, could be a bit of a problem, because obviously the Stone Cold there could pop up on top of the ridgeline and get shots into our side before we even hit this ridgeline here. And that's an unfortunate thing, really. But we managed to get here pretty much unscathed. I mean, he got a shot into us, a shot or two into us anyway when we crossed over. But now we're here. We're going to look to see if we can find anyone crossing. But obviously we are a slow tank. So for the most part, we've pretty much missed anyone that did move up here. We've caught this Dragon out here. We get a nice shot straight into him. And I'm just going to back up so that he doesn't get a shot into us, because I don't want to bleed more health at this point. We're only on 600 damage. At the time, it was about 2.5k damage to get the third mark on this tank. We ended up boosting with food as well to be able to get as much reload back in this as possible. The 53 TP over there is in an awkward position. We managed to get a nice shot straight into his side, up to 1,000 damage. And I'm just thinking, how can I push this damage up? I really do need the damage to go. We need... It's one of those things, because of how slow the tank fires, and that's really unfortunate, because of how slow the tank fires, you really have to think about how you can put the gun into action as much as possible, right? You need to take every opportunity you possibly can, because it's one of those things, because games can pass you by so quickly just because of how slow it is, and that is a problem. And that's a problem for slow tanks in general. You've always got to be thinking the next step ahead for damage, because games pass you by that quickly that if you're not on top of thinking what you're going to do next, you're just not going to get any damage, and you are going to lose out on the third mark. And that's why a lot of slow tanks can be frustrating, because sometimes you can still think ahead of the game, right? You can think ahead of where you need to be to get damage, and you still don't get there because the game just passes you by. So I'm thinking, what's next? Well, this map, you can get quite a bit of spotting by going to these ridge lines here. If you manage to get here and spot anything that's camping in their base, which someone has, you can get a lot of spotting, and obviously that is great for your MOE. We've caught this Tiger 2 out. He's got tracked by the artillery. We take advantage of that, get a nice shot through. And right now we're at 2.8k combined. So I know that I'm probably going up, which is nice. But we're just going to be risky now. We get a nice shot into the artillery. That puts us on 2.8k damage. We're on another bit of assistance there, so we're probably on 3.7. I know I'm definitely going up. And I take it risky here. I'm thinking, you know what, I'm just going to sit on here. I'm going to get a shot into these guys. Yeah, we took too much of a risk. The TD down there ends up shutting us down, but we still managed to get a shot blind as well, so we got 3.2k damage, a load of assistance just as we died. So that was 5k combined, and that pushed us over the 95% mark. So we ended up with the Confederate, the sniper, second class, because we made mistakes and we ended up getting shut down for it. But we did manage to get it in the end, and it was all that extra assistance we got after we died that really did help us. It was an extra 1,000 assistance, which saved it really. But it was an okay game for the T34 Black, but it was just enough, and sometimes that's all you need. And as you see with the 95.01% we got, sometimes all you need is just enough to get the third mark of excellence for a tank. So, as always everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.